Hello, everyone. So let's start by our presentation. I'm Damien Clément, 3D artist and trainer for Substance Tools. And
I'm Luc Chamerla, and I'm a technical artist at Substance.
I will start by a little quiz. Who in this audience knows or use Substance Designer?
Wow.
Okay. Wow, impressive. Same question about Substance Painter. Okay.
Nice.
So sorry for people who already know that, but I'm gonna do a quick introduction of what Substance is and where we come from. So we are a material authoring and 3D texturing software company. What we do is mainly procedural materials for a couple of years now, and I did a mistake on my presentation. And yeah, we are able to manage procedural material, to create procedural materials, and manage scan data. And now, thanks to that, we can create hybrid materials between procedural content and scan data. Some words about the company, former Allegorithmic, which is now an Adobe company. So the company is 15 years old today. We are a standard in video game industry, where 95% of AAA studios are using Substance. And this happened 5 years ago, I would say. Now we can see the same thing in VFX industry for 2 years now. And in order to address this new market, we actively working on painting across UDIM, color management, and automation toolkit. And an interesting thing is during the last 5 years, we've been contacted by all the major architecture and design company. They were looking for the same tools that we brought to video game business 10 years ago. And since Substance has become the standard in architecture and design as well. Now, some words about our ecosystem. So first, we have Substance Designer for technical artists who wanting to create node-based procedural materials and tools and work with scan data and also fully automated pipeline process. We have Substance Painter for the artists who want a flexible layer-based 3D painting software, and Substance Source. So what is Substance Source is our library. It's an ever-growing content library with today more than 1,800 pre-made materials. Where you can find physically based materials, high resolution and tweakable asset for texturing, from fully procedural to physically based scan. Some words about our integrations. Substance Engine, basically. Substance Engine is basically is natively or through free plugins supported by all major game engine and DCC tools and offline renderers. And when we say supported, it means that you are able to modify the parameters of your Substance within 3ds Max, Maya, or Unreal, for instance. So you access to the flexibility of the Substance parametric materials directly in your experience editing tool. Regarding Unreal, to have access to the power of Substance, you just have to go on the marketplace and simply download and install our plugin available for free, and that's it. You can now use our parametric materials directly inside your scene, have an access to Substance source, so it's directly integrated, and use the direct link between Unreal Engine and Substance Painter. Now, some words about our presentation. So today we will demonstrate our pipeline in live, even on the beta version of Project Alchemist. You will see first the live link between UE4 and Substance Painter. Then I will let Luc demonstrate an architecture scene made by Nicolas Millot, one of our colleagues, and how to use Substance material, but also how to create and use custom tool made with Substance Designer. And I'm talking about tools because Substance Designer is a material authoring tool, okay? But it's also a generator. It's also a tool generator. You can make and export a tool as a material through the only exchanging format we have called SBSAR. For instance, all the tools, filters, and mask generators available in Substance Painter have been made with Substance Designer. To give you an example, the blur filter is basically an input, a blur node, and an output exported in SBSAR. So, and to finish our live demo, you will see Substance Alchemist. And some words about Substance Alchemist. Alchemist is an upcoming standalone application that will be a part of our ecosystem. And it's a next generation tool dedicated to material exploration, authoring, and management, but in a simpler way compared to Substance Designer. And I think we can start our live demo.
I will give you a brief overview of the scene. And we are going to start by sending an asset directly from Unreal to Substance Painter.
Maybe I can say some word about this scene. So in Substance, we have a dedicated team of artists working on project. This one is a project made by Nicolas Millot in order to improve our architecture pipeline and apply and use some materials from Substance source.
In this scene, everything you see is procedural. We didn't use any scan data for this one. We wanted this scene to be only procedural materials. So the fun thing about this scene is that you can tweak almost all the material you see on the floor, on the sofa, and so on.
And here we have a little goat, very cute one, made by a famous artist working with us. And we will apply a texturing on it through the live link. And can you split just the screen between?
Okay, do that. So this one here.
And Painter on the other side.
Just open Painter up. And with just 2 clicks, I can send my mesh to Painter. I just need to export it like that.
Yeah, it works.
So let's go, Damien.
Yes. So today I won't really paint on this asset. I want to show you an example of a pipeline with anchor points because it's a tough subject, not really easy to use.
But I saw in the room that a lot of people were familiar with Painter, but who is familiar with anchor points?
Yeah, good
this
question.
Feature?
Okay, nice.
yes.
So yeah, I'm gonna just start and you will see. So here I'm gonna drag and drop a material from a substance source and change my tiling to make it fit like this. Now, because it's procedural, I can change my color for something like this. Maybe I can increase a bit the resolution.
Yeah,
No,
let's
yeah,
go for
it's
2K.
fine. Okay, 2K.
A single click in Unreal should update the
And
texture.
I think I also rotate the env map like this. So I prepared some smart materials based on mask generators and anchor points. But because it's working with the direct link, I need first to go on my texture set settings and feed my mesh maps.
Yeah, we pre-baked the assets so you won't have to see a progress bar during the demo. Maybe a single click in Unreal should update your model.
Yeah. I don't need the thickness, curvature, and ambient occlusion, and that's it.
Cool.
Okay. So now we can check our channels.
Nice.
Perfect. There is no thickness and the normal. Okay. And now let's just drag and drop my first smart material based on anchor points. So I'm going to start by this one.
Just a sec, let me click on
Oh,
that
yeah,
so
sorry,
we can
you
update
asked me that, yeah.
I don't know why it's not updating. Okay, maybe just material. Yeah, material is not applied.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna apply this.
Perfect,
Sorry, guys.
lovely.
Up and here we are. Nice. I'm going to remove everything from the view like that.
Thank you very much. So basically here, what I did is custom setup based on anchor point. And what I'm looking for is to drive 2 layers with variations. And so let me just show you. This is my first mask generator, mainly based on the position map. And now what I'm looking for is basically to create a second variation based on this first mask generator. And to do that, I can copy paste my mask generator, but it's not dynamic. And if I just create an anchor point here and feed this mask with my anchor point through a fill effect, I can now drive 2 layers, 2 mask generators, to mask simply, from only one parameter, one mask generator effect. So this one is blurred. I just add a filter with a blur, and I change my color, blending mode, and opacity in order to add these slight variations. So let me just show you like this. No, it was this one, like this. And I'm gonna do the same thing for a kind of terracotta material. So it's the same process. I have a fill effect here with my anchor inside. So it's just a dynamic duplication of this guy. And I applied filter from Substance Share, which is our peer-to-peer platform. So you can download free content and some awesome filters like this one. And I'm gonna just enable it. So here you can see a pretty decent behavior, like real one, between 2 kind of ceramic. And I did the same thing just for the top part of my lovely goat.
Nice.
And here I'm gonna. So here basically I try to create a kind of oxidation that you can find on this kind of ceramic of asset. Yeah, it's updated, lovely. And it's pretty much the same setup. So here you can see my first mask generator and a second variation and another variation with some copper. And now let's play with only one mask generator. And this one is also based on the position map. And I think there is some curvature and ambient occlusion informations like this. And the cool thing with that is because I only worked with mask generators based on mesh maps, I can just create a folder with all my layers inside and right click, create smart material. And now I can use it on any type of object. I forgot something or?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Maybe we can refresh.
Yes, let's refresh that. Okay, so let's make a comparison between our viewport in Painter and in Unreal.
I think you can hide Painter now.
Yeah, just to make a comparison.
Oh, yes.
I really like the way it looks in Unreal. Yeah, like that. Cool. So, I think we are done with this goat.
Yes.
So, I'm gonna close Painter. Okay. Now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Substance Designer. As I saw that a lot of people already know it, I will try to be quick and keep it simple for the introduction. So how does it work? I made this really simple graph in Designer just to show you like basic thing you need to know before jumping into Designer. So on your right, you can see a bunch of outputs. We have a base color, a normal map, roughness, and so on. As we are working with standard PBR material, I don't need anything else. Maybe an AO, an ambient occlusion, and I could add any type of output depending on what you want on your material. Like for example, I could use diffuse, opacity, emissive, ambient, all that kind of output.
Subsurface scattering, because now we are supporting
now we are
subsurface
supporting
scattering.
both anisotropy and subsurface scattering directly inside the Painter viewport.
Yeah.
So, very simple graph. I have three kind of shapes. I can choose which shape I want to output, like this. And it's basically blending between two colors and creating a normal map. So, what is a parameter? A parameter is a value that you can input in one of your nodes inside of your graph, and that will be exposed to the user. It means that once your material is exported, you will be able to change this value, and some properties of the material will be changing and will be real-time updated once changing your value. So here, for example, I can change the scale of my shape like this. Everything is running smoothly in both 2D and 3D viewport. And what I'm going to do now is creating a value going from 0 to 1. I will name it shape scale. Okay. And I'm going to input that value into my scale value there. So let's call it shape scale. So now, if I'm changing my parameter, the scale of my shape is updated at runtime. What is cool about parameter is that it's not, you can share your parameter between your graph and your node. So I would like my user to have the same scale, no matter which shape is outputted from the switch grayscale node. So I will input the same parameter in all my scale sliders like that. Oops, pattern specific, not that one. Here we are. And now, if I'm changing that value, all the shapes are updated. So no matter which one I choose, I can switch. Same thing for the switch node. I would like my user to be able to choose which shape he wants to use. So I will create that time an integer named shape selection. And what is cool about parameters is that you can choose which UI you will give to your user. For the shape scale, you saw that it was a slider, but as we want to choose between a number of inputs, we would like a drop-down list. So I can choose it right there, drop-down list. I will input that parameter into the input selection, shape selection. And now, if I'm previewing my parameters, you can see that I can change the scale. And also, oops, sorry, I didn't, I didn't add my, okay, sorry for that. I needed to set a value and a name for each shape. So the first, let's call that disk. The second one will be a pyramid. And the last one, the third one, will be how to call the wheels, I think. And now let's preview that. Yeah, cool. Okay, so now everybody is familiar with parameters. We will have a look to a graph from Substance Source. This graph is
more complex.
more complex because it has subgraph and like you could dive into node and into node. I won't do that live because there is a lot of things that have been done by the source team, but basically you can see almost the same behavior.
And we can maybe add some words about the source team. We have a dedicated team working every day on new content and validated and very optimized.
Yeah, all the materials you will find on Substance Source are well optimized to be tweaked in real time. We have strict guidelines when creating our materials. So if you download anything from Source, you will be sure that it's optimized to work in real-time engine.
And if I can also, another word about Source. For most of the materials, we are releasing the SBS AR file, but also the SBS file, which means you can, when you buy a material, you can open the graph without any limitations, and you can learn how to do a proper graph based on our recommendations and guidelines.
Feel free to download SBS and see how our internal artists worked on materials.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, as you can see, there is a lot of parameters there and can be kind of scary, but as I'm previewing it, you can see the drop-down list, color picker, and a very user-friendly interface. So I can change the pattern of my parquet, the amount of plank, and everything I want. Like also I could change the bevel between my planks. So from the biggest shapes to the smaller details, parameters allows you to tweak your material and create a wide library of variation. So I think we're done with that, and let's jump into Unreal.
Yes.
So this is the same material I shown you in Substance Designer. And what I like about Substance integration in Unreal is that you will have the exact same result from Designer to Unreal. So if I'm opening that material, let me browse it. Okay. I can change my parameters the same way I did in Designer viewport. So what? Oh, let me resize that.
Thanks to Qt.
Maybe. Okay, okay, way too big. Come on. Okay.
Perfect.
So I will change first the pattern. Up. Everything is updated like in a second. Up. Let's switch back to the English one. I like it. I can offset in a different way.
You can also play with the random seed of the VINs and
Yeah.
of the main patterns.
As everything is procedural, you can randomize your material like as much as you want. Like up, like this.
Not too much.
So.
Not too much.
Okay. So now what I am going to do is I'm going to download material from Substance Source. So yeah, the cool thing about Source is that it's directly integrated into Unreal, and a single click on that icon and you will have access to hundreds of materials. So right now I'm looking for a concrete material to change the parquet on the floor. So let's see. Okay, I like this. So yeah, this one looks nice. Okay.
Yeah, this one is cool.
Okay, so with a single click, as you can see, all the files I needed has been created. So right now I can just drag and drop my material and see how it looks. Okay, it looks yellow and too shiny.
Yeah, a little bit wet.
Let's change that. I can also access my parameters right here. First thing to do is switch to 2K to have finer details on the texture. Nice.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to desaturate it a little bit. Like that.
Much better.
A little bit more. Yeah, like that. And then I'm going to try to find the good angle with my camera to change the roughness, because right now it's almost a mirror. So my roughness parameter is there. Around 0.3 should be okay. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I like it that way. So yeah, you can, with a single click, download anything from Source, starting with free assets. If you want, you can already access to around 40 free assets on the Substance Source platform. So feel free to have a look to it. Okay, and now we've seen how easy it is to download the material and apply it. We are going to do something a little bit different. Let's feed a standard Unreal material with a pattern generator. So I think most of you are used to work with standard materials in Unreal, like importing your bitmaps and plugging them to the base color, the metalness, and so on. So that time, what I'm going to do is I have a carpet here, kind of too uniform for me. So I'm going to feed that carpet with a new pattern. So let's go for this. We take a cool camera. I love the cinema cameras in Unreal. It's really cool to preview your scene. So up. So here is my material. I'm going to open it. Okay, nice. So here is my pattern generator in Designer. It's only outputting a single black and white mask, but with just a few nodes, you can already do a lot of things. I just show you a little bit in Designer, but I will show you in Unreal. It's cooler to see. I can change the line amount, the width. I can change the wave amount, how much it's smooth or not. So let's see that on a material in Unreal. So here is my carpet material, like very standard. And what I'm going to do is, let me move that. Yeah, right here. I'm going to add my mask pattern generator like this and do a simple linear interpolation between them so I can blend two different colors like this. And I will choose kind of black and white color like that. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Nice, cool. And now what I want to do is just play with it. So, okay, let's change the amount of line. I would like a kind of zebra pattern. So I'm going to increase the white line, keep the black one thin, add some warp on those lines so it doesn't look
nice.
too uniform. Okay, I like it that way. Cool. Maybe bigger, smaller. Yeah. Okay, I
Bigger
like it
is
that way.
great, yeah.
And yeah, you can really change the result like a lot. Like for example, if I'm resetting, just changing the resolution to 1K.
Can you do some circles, for instance?
Yeah, I'm going to switch from one pattern to another, but I really like this one. It's like you can, with a single blur parameter, you can choose how smooth or your waves are. So, and everything is updated live. And the last one, I'm going to switch to another pattern. For this one, I would like a red color. So just switch from black to red, apply it. And now I'm going to switch to my disk pattern. Okay, I would like to switch between those two colors. Like that, this one here and here. Just to have white dot on red color. Cool, I will increase the amount of dot, maybe reduce the size. And you see how you can play with a very, very simple graph and do a lot of variation in the engine directly. So yeah, let's move the scale a little bit up. Reduce, yeah. And you can, just have fun and play with it, show your colleagues, your clients, have fun with it. Iterate on your scene and you will be able to create like really, really cool thing. I will just switch to the zebra one, which was better. Up, apply it. I can just switch back,
Okay.
and it's okay. So, Damien, maybe you will show us a little bit about Alchemist?
Yes.
Cool.
So this is our last baby product. And it's a very simple but powerful software splitted in 3 parts. So the first part is library manager. So basically you can sort, you can add task, rename, and see all the parameters of your substances. So let me just play with it. Yes, the famous double click.
And let's try with the roof, as there is a lot of people from Game Arts,
Oh,
and
yes.
this one is like really really cool one.
Okay.
Just yeah.
Okay. What can I
This
do with
material,
that? I can reduce and increase the mouse.
yeah,
Okay. Very nice.
that's really cool.
It's my first time on these materials.
Really Game Arts, I
Yes,
think.
very gameish. And yeah, there is some embed presets. So you can switch from a preset to another one. And I'm gonna do the same thing with this textile. So here, same thing for only one material, one SBSAR file. You can have access to some presets and very different presets compared to the first thumbnail. But you can also play with and change some patterns like this one. Perfect. This one is nice. And from that, maybe I will change a little bit my color. Yes, like this. From this one, you can create a new preset, a new material preset. So
The cool thing about that is just 50 kilobytes file that is generating everything you see on screen. So SBSR is our file format we use everywhere in our ecosystem, and it's a very light format.
okay, so from that, I'm gonna move on. Maybe I can talk about a little bit about. You can, like in Designer, change your mesh, your primitive mesh. You can also change your resolution.
Let's say to 2K for now.
Yeah, and the environment. So yeah, maybe I can play with it.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'll show you Inspire. So basically, in this section, you will be able, and you are already able, to use your mood board references. So if you have a mood board with some reference pictures, like here, and you have to define the material you want to change, then you have to choose your image references. So now I want to remap all my colors based on this image. And it's pretty interesting for interior design. And when you have to remap all the colors of a ground or a terrain, it's just so efficient. And here you can see the parameters. So it's pretty simple, but you have an access to an advanced mode. And you can see here which algorithm you will use to pick to create your color palette. So I will stay on Purify and then generate a new variation like this. So in only one click, you can see all this color palette applied on my material. I can change for deepness and generate another variation on the fly. And the last parameter is one preset per extracted color. And this one is very cool because here I will have a lot of variations generated.
Okay, it can sound a little bit ridiculous, but this feature has been trained on machine learning, and that's why almost all the time you will get a really cool result, because we tried that feature with a lot of images, from concept art to single photo we took in the street, and I can't wait to see people playing with that, because you can really create a mood and share it with your team and so on. So yeah, this feature is pretty
I
nice.
tested it on terrain, and it's just a huge time saver instead of changing every colors. And of course, you can also add some new library, new folder. So, but I won't show you that because yeah, it's.
Yeah, let's
almost.
create.
And now let's move to create. And yeah, this last but not least section, it's a layer-based material blending tool. And here what I'm gonna do is basically to generate a PBR material from a simple photograph like this one.
A non-square photo.
Yeah, it's a non-tileable photo and it's just a JPEG. And drag and drop it directly inside the 3D view. And by default, Alchemist propose bitmap to material. So it's for people who already knows our product, it's an improved version of the standalone application bitmap to material. And maybe before I'm gonna switch on 3D 2D view. Okay, and change for a plane. So here we have now a base color, normal and formation, roughness. There is no metallic, but there is height and ambient occlusion. But if you take a look on my base color, it's not a real albedo because there is some lighting informations. So the first thing I'm gonna do is to delight my base color like this. So it's an AI. If you are
Yeah, so the Delighter is also an AI-based filter.
Yeah.
We based it on all the resources we had from Substance Source. So the filter know how to delight metal, stone, wood, fabric. We tagged what we delighted, and now you can automatically have a pretty good result. Damien, if you can hide it and reshow it, please.
Yes, so this is my current albedo, and I'm started with that. So yeah, it's not bad. And this is why we have time computing because
Yeah, 2 seconds, it's okay.
yeah,
I think
it's fine. So of course you can also directly in the 3D view play, increase, and reduce your displacement and quality. And I'm gonna make it tile twice in order to do the next manipulation because it's not a tileable material and I need to make it tile. So I'm gonna simply use the make it tile advanced filter like this and play with the parameters because I need to invert it. And so it's pretty simple. Each time all the filters are pretty simple, but you always have an advanced mode to tweak and fine tune your effect. And here I can play, I think, yeah, with this one. Okay. Okay, like this. I think it's pretty decent.
pretty decent. Maybe a little bit of height equalizer to remove
that
big,
yeah,
depth difference.
Yeah. Yeah, if you take a look on the height, there is huge variations. So I'm gonna add an equalizer filter in order to uniformize, and I can no, maybe it's fine here. Okay, the next thing I want to do is to remove all the obvious repetitions. So I'm gonna use the clone path tool to do that and define yeah, my base color is better. So here what I can do is like this one and replace this one. Same thing for this guy. I think we can
Yeah, let's
see
do
the
another one.
repetitions. And I'm gonna add another clone path tool and pick, for instance, this one.
Nice.
And yeah, not bad. So next thing is I want to use this material in our scene, an orange scene. So I want to change my scale to make it fit with my scene scale. To do that, I'm gonna add a transform tool and change my tiling. And I also make it tile 1 and increase my tiling and keep it square. Keep it square like this. Okay. And now the idea is basically to mix this new material with a full procedural content. So maybe I'm gonna switch on rounded cube. Yeah. I can also check my lighting. Yeah, nice. So here I just downloaded 2 materials. So the first one is a medieval Tudor, and what I want to do is basically to add some wood beams on this brick wall. So I'm gonna just drag and drop my SBSAR inside like this. And here I'm gonna play with the blending modes. So by default, it's height blend, and it's basically what I want to do, height blend. So I'm gonna change it. So here you can see how to play with the height. And here you can see my procedural material. So it's not really covered. So I'm gonna change my brick position like this. And because it's a procedural material, I can reduce my vertical beams amount for 1 like this. The next thing I want to do is to add some plaster on it. So same thing, I'm gonna drag and drop a material from substance source. And here I won't blend it with the height blend. I want to use the ambient occlusion to blend it. So I'm gonna change my blending mode and play with my buttons like this. And I think it's it's
Should
good
we
for
try
your
them
project.
in Unreal?
Okay, and of course, from that layer stack, you can save it as a new material. So brick material, you can change if you want the destination folder, and that's it like this. So now you have a new material. Oh no, I want to do the scan process also. I want
No,
to
go
show
for
the
it. We
scan
have a
process.
little
Yeah,
bit
I
of
forgot.
time, so
Okay, so
be quick.
I'm gonna clear my layer stack because my material is now saved. And what I'm gonna do now is to use some scan data informations of a piece of laser and drag and drop it inside the 3D view. And now, because there is several images, it proposes multi-angle to material by default. And if I switch on the 2D view, you can see, so yeah. So on the fly, you have a PBR material automatically generated. we can check our channels. Roughness, nice roughness variations. Height, ambient occlusion.
Yes, that's all.
Okay. And
Can you make it red for a sofa?
yes. So to do that, I just have to go on my multi-angle node and replace my blending mode by pass-through, because now I want to drive my base color directly in my base material. And here I can say, okay, it's not plastic of rubber, but leather, and change my color like this.
Nice.
And save it. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Damien. Yeah, just one more thing with Alchemist. You can export your material using different file formats, SBSAR, for example, which is our universal format, but also HDR or EXR formats if you want to use floating values, and also SBS. We already exported it to Unreal, so it will be easier for us. So let's have a look to them in our scene. So I'm going to replace that sad blank wall with the material Damien created. Here we are. So for a kind of 10 minutes material, it's looking pretty decent. And we could imagine adding a little bit more work to make it game ready or ready to use in your architecture scene. Same for the sofa, which was a 1 minute material at the time. Let's switch to that beautiful
You asked me to make it in
leather.
1 minute, so I tried.
Yeah, I asked. So yeah, here is the material that is styling several times. And as you can see, we have some really, really fine details
Yes.
on the surface. So yeah, I think that's it.
Yes.
We pretty much saw what you can do with our different software, how you can try to mix something coming from Unreal and from Substance. And I hope it will give you ideas, and I hope we will be able to speak with you after that conference. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.